Welcome back. Get comfortable, settle in, dim your screen, close your eyes if you're ready. You don't need to watch anything tonight. I'll take it from here. Tonight we are talking about one of the greatest friendships in anime, Gon Freaks and Killua Zoldyck, how they met, how they grew, what they meant to each other, and what their story says about what it means to choose someone, to really choose them, not because it is convenient or safe or strategically sound, but because they matter to you, and that is the only reason that counts. This is not a summary of plot events. We will go through those, but that is not what tonight is about. Tonight is about two boys and what they built together across 148 episodes, and why years after this series ended, people still talk about them the way they do. There is no rush, just breathe slowly, let your body get heavy, and let me tell you the story where they each started. To understand what Gon and Killua's friendship means, you have to understand where each of them was before they found each other. Gon Freaks grew up on Whale Island with his aunt Mito. He had a happy childhood in the most genuine sense of the word. He was loved, he was safe, he had the forest and the sea, and the animals and Mito's cooking, and the particular freedom of a child who is trusted to be who he is. He is, when we first meet him, someone who has never had a reason to close himself off. He approaches everything and everyone with complete openness, not naively, not without judgment, but with a genuine belief that the world and the people in it are worth engaging with fully. He has also grown up without his father, not without the knowledge of his father. Mito eventually tells him the truth, but without the person. Gon Freaks left before Gon could walk and has not come back. Gon has lived with his absence his entire life and processed it in the way he processes everything, not by closing around it, but by deciding what to do with it. He is going to find his father. He is going to become a hunter. He is going to understand what kind of person his father is and why he left and what that means. He boards a ship to take the hunter exam with the easy confidence of someone who has never been given a reason to doubt that the world will receive him. Killua Zoldyck grew up in a completely different world. The Zoldyck family estate sits on Kukuru Mountain behind a gate that weighs 64 tons. The family has been professional assassins for generations. They take contracts on targets anywhere in the world and they fulfill them. Their record is perfect. Their methods are not discussed publicly. They live in total isolation and they like it that way. Killua is the third child of Silva and Kikyo Zoldyck. He has been in training since he was old enough to walk. His pain tolerance has been built up through years of systematic conditioning. His body has been exposed to poisons from infancy until he developed immunity to most known toxins. He has been taught to move without sound, to assess threats automatically, to kill efficiently and without hesitation. He has killed people multiple times in training contexts and in the field. He is, at 12 years old, one of the most dangerous people alive. He has also been taught, through every method available to a family with no ethical constraints on how they raise their children, that attachment is weakness, that people outside the family are tools or obstacles, that friendship is a vulnerability that professionals cannot afford, that his purpose is the mission and everything else is secondary. He has never had a friend, not because he was incapable of it, not because something in him was broken in a way that made connection impossible, because he was never allowed to, because every time something soft tried to grow in him, his family pruned it, because he was raised in an environment where caring about someone was treated as a flaw to be corrected. He takes the hunter exam because he is bored And because something in him, something his family has not succeeded in eliminating despite their best efforts, is restless. He wants something he cannot name. He is 12 years old and he has done everything his family trained him to do, and none of it has given him whatever the thing is that he is missing. He sits in a restaurant at the examination site, eating chocolate and waiting for whatever comes next. The ship, the restaurant, the beginning. Gon sees Killua across the room and walks over and sits down. This is entirely characteristic of Gon. He does not deliberate about it. He does not assess the social calculus of approaching a stranger. He sees someone interesting and he goes. His operating principle has always been direct engagement with whatever is in front of him. And what is in front of him right now is a boy his age sitting alone who looks from across the room like someone worth knowing. He introduces himself. Killua looks at him. There is a moment of assessment, quick and automatic, the kind of evaluation Killua has been trained to perform on everyone he encounters. Gon passes whatever the assessment is measuring. Killua introduces himself back. They begin to talk. The conversation is easy, immediately, naturally easy, in the way that certain conversations are easy when two people have recognized something in each other that they cannot quite name, but that registers clearly as significant. Gon asks questions with genuine curiosity, and Killua answers them with genuine consideration, and neither of them is performing anything. Killua tells Gon he is taking the exam for fun. This is the truth. Gon considers this and finds it reasonable. Gon tells Killua he is taking the exam to find his father. Killua considers this and finds it reasonable. They share food. They talk about things that have nothing to do with the exam. At some point, they are both laughing. They will not be separated for a very long time. What is happening in this conversation, though neither of them has words for it yet, is that Killua is experiencing something he has never experienced before. Someone is talking to him not as a Zoldyck, not as an asset or a threat or a representative of his family's capabilities, but as a person, as a specific individual whose opinions about things are interesting and worth asking about. Gon is not afraid of him. Gon is not performing friendliness as a social strategy. Gon is just genuinely interested in him, in Killua specifically, in whatever this person sitting across the table actually thinks and feels and wants. Now, Killua does not know what to do with this. He has no framework for it. He files it away and keeps talking. The exam side by side. Gon and Killua move through the hunter exam together with the ease of people who have known each other for years. They run side by side through the tunnel phase, barely winded, talking. They navigate Trick Tower together as part of the same group. They face different individual challenges and find each other afterward and compare notes. The exam reveals things about both of them. It reveals that Gon is extraordinary in ways that are not immediately obvious. He is not the strongest person in the exam. He is not the fastest. He does not have the most technical skill or the most combat experience. What he has is something harder to categorize. An instinct for reading situations and people that operates at a level below conscious thought, a physical capability that manifests specifically when it matters, as if his body has been reserving something for when it is actually needed, and a capacity for stubbornness, for simply not stopping, that goes beyond ordinary determination into something that functions more like a natural law. Gon does not quit, not when he is losing, not when he is hurt, not when the rational assessment of the situation says that quitting is a sensible choice. He does not quit because quitting is not available to him as an option. It is not that he is brave in the face of the temptation to give up. The temptation does not appear to exist. It reveals that Killua is extraordinary in ways that are immediately and terrifyingly obvious. He moves through the exam's physical challenges with the ease of someone for whom these challenges are calibrated far below his actual capability. He reads threats accurately and instantly. He makes decisions in combat at a speed that suggests his nervous system operates differently from most people's. It also reveals the needle. In the tournament phase of the exam, with Illumi watching from the crowd, Killua kills two applicants and withdraws. He walks past Gon without looking at him and leaves. The conditioning his brother installed in him has activated the needle that commands retreat, and he has retreated. Gon watches him go. He thinks about this for approximately 5 minutes. Then he tells Kurapika and Leorio that he is going to get Killua back. This decision, which Gon makes without hesitation and without drama, is the first real expression of what their friendship will mean. Gon passed the exam. He has his hunter license, the reasonable thing, the thing that serves his stated goal of finding his father, is to move forward. Instead, he is going to go to a mountain fortress staffed by the most dangerous assassin family in the world and ask them to give his friend back. Not because it is strategic, because Killua is his friend, and that is sufficient reason. Kukuru Mountain, Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio go to Kukuru Mountain to get Killua back. The Zoldyck estate is everything the gate at its base suggests. Vast, immaculate, cold, in the specific way of beautiful things that were designed for function rather than warmth. Getting through requires navigating a system of butlers with a trust hierarchy, earning access to each level before the next one opens. It takes time. Gon does it with the same patient directness he applies to everything. Inside, somewhere in the underground detention wing, Killua is sitting in a room that is comfortable and completely controlled. He is thinking about Gon. He knows, with the certainty of someone who has made an accurate assessment of a person's character, that Gon will come. He cannot fully explain why he knows this. He just does. The certainty that someone is coming for him, that he matters enough to someone for them to come all this way. This is an experience Killua has never had before, and he does not have a name for what it does to him when it turns out to be true. Gon comes, he navigates the butlers, he passes the testing grounds, he reaches the inner estate and the confrontation with Killua's mother, and eventually the moment where Killua asks to leave and his mother, making whatever calculation she makes, agrees. Killua walks out of the gate. He looks back once at the mountain and everything it represents, and then he turns around and walks toward Gon, who is waiting at the bottom of the path. Gon grins. Killua looks at him. His expression does something complicated. He has been told his entire life that this kind of thing, someone coming for you because they want you back, is not real, that it does not happen, that the world does not work this way, and anyone who acts as if it does is naive or lying. Gon is standing at the bottom of the mountain grinning at him. Killua starts walking. Heaven's Arena and the world change in size. They go to Heaven's Arena together to earn money and grow stronger, and it is here that the world changes size for both of them. Wing teaches them Nen, the life force that flows through all living things, the power that exists beneath the surface of everything they have experienced so far. The world they thought they understood turns out to have a whole layer they could not previously perceive. They train together. This is where you see for the first time what their dynamic looks like when they are working towards something together rather than just moving through the same circumstances. Gon trains by throwing himself completely at the practice, accepting every difficulty without complaint, making progress through sheer consistency of effort and the complete commitment he brings to everything. Killua trains by breaking everything down into components, finding the most efficient path to competence, using the physical awareness he has been building since childhood as a foundation. They push each other, not competitively exactly, not in the way of people trying to beat each other, in the way of people who make each other better, because being around someone who is fully committed to something makes you more committed to it too. Gon's complete investment in the training pulls something out of Killua that his family's methods never produced: genuine engagement rather than performed compliance. Killua's analytical precision gives Gon a framework for understanding what he is doing intuitively. They are together more than either of them is alone. This is not a metaphor. It is a measurable fact about their training and their capability. York New City and what they learn about each other. In York New City, separated by different goals and different circumstances, Gon and Killua end up captured by the Phantom Troop. They are placed in a room with multiple troop members and assessed. The troop members are interested in them, not threatened, because these two children register as genuinely unusual. Nobunaga takes a specific interest in Gon, seeing something in him that reminds him of someone he lost. Killua assesses the room with the cold precision his family trained into him. He assigns threat levels, calculates response times, evaluates exit possibilities. He concludes with the flat certainty of someone who is very good at this specific analysis that they cannot escape. There is no version of this where they fight their way out. He tells Gon this. Gon accepts it. They sit on the floor together and wait. The Phantom Troop members eat food and have conversations around them. At some point, Gon leans against Killua's shoulder and Killua does not move away, and they sit in companionable silence in the middle of one of the most dangerous situations they have ever been in. This moment is small and it is also everything. Killua has spent his whole life being told that the appropriate response to danger is assessment and calculation and the identification of the most survivable path. What he does instead is sit on the floor with his friend and be present with him in the situation they are in together. He does not perform calm. He is calm because Gon is there. This is what their friendship has built in him. Not just the capability to care about someone, the capability to be present with someone in difficulty, to sit with things rather than manage them, to let a moment be what it is. Greed Island and growing up together. The Greed Island arc gives Gon and Killua something the series has not given them much of before. Time to just be, to explore a world together, to figure things out together, to eat food and argue about strategies and train under biscuit and fail at things and try again. The arc is lighter than what came before and what will come after, and this lightness is intentional. It is the series giving these two boys a period of something like ordinary childhood before everything gets very heavy. They grow significantly during this arc, not just in terms of Nen capability, but in terms of who they are. Gon becomes more refined, his raw instinct developing into something more considered and deliberate without losing the completeness that makes him who he is. Killua becomes more committed, the needle's command of retreat losing ground to the part of him that has decided quietly and repeatedly to stay. Biscuit sees both of these developments and she does not comment on them directly. She pushes them in the directions they need to be pushed and trusts them to grow into what she can see they are becoming. When they complete the game and move toward the next thing, they are different from who they were when they entered, not unrecognizable, more fully themselves. The Chimera Ant arc and the cost of loving someone. The Chimera Ant arc is where the friendship is tested at its absolute limit and where both of them discover what they are actually made of. For Gon, the arc is about what happens when you're completely yourself and the world presents you with something that being completely yourself cannot fix. He finds Kite, he sees what was done to Kite. He runs because Kite told him to run, and the running costs him something that accumulates across the entire arc. He eventually spends himself. He makes a vow that converts his future into present power, and he empties what he had saved. He does this not because it is wise or sustainable or something Killua would agree to. He does it because it is the only response available to him given who he is. For Killua, the arc is about the needle. He has been fighting it since York knew. Since before York knew, if you count the exam, every time he has chosen to stay rather than run, every time he has put Gon's situation ahead of his own safety, he has been pushing against the conditioning his brother installed. Not dramatically, not with grand declarations, just by doing it again and again until the accumulated weight of all those choices begins to shift something. In the palace running toward Gon, he pushes through it completely. He reaches Gon after the transformation. Gon is alive, barely in the technical sense. Killua sits with him and the show gives him a long moment that does not need words to communicate what it contains. He has chosen Gon over every other thing his life has been organized around, over his family, over his training, over the self-preservation that was installed in him before he could walk. He sits with Gon and stays. The ending and what it means. Killua leaves at the end of the series, not permanently, not as a goodbye, but as the beginning of his own separate path. He has retrieved Aluka, his younger sibling, and Aluka's wish heals Gon completely, and then Killua goes. He sends a message rather than saying goodbye in person. The message says essentially that Gon is going to be fine, that Gon was always going to be fine, that Killua has somewhere to be now, someone who needs him specifically, a different direction to walk in. This ending is not sad. It is the correct ending for this friendship. The thing about Gon and Killua's friendship is that it was never about need. Neither of them needed the other in the way of dependency. Gon would have kept going without Killua. Killua would have survived without Gon. The friendship was not about filling a lack. It was about what became possible when they were together. The specific version of each of them that only existed in relation to the other. Gon made Killua capable of staying, not by teaching him or telling him or convincing him of anything, just by being Gon, by being someone who saw Killua specifically and found him worth seeing, by going to Kukuru Mountain for no reason except that his friend was there. Killua made Gon capable of being known. Gon is open to everyone, but openness is not the same as being known. Killua knew him. Killua sat in the room with him and assessed everything and chose him anyway. Killua ran toward him when everything his training said was run away. They made each other more fully themselves. This is the rarest thing one person can do for another and the most valuable. Killua walks away at the end of the series and he is, for the first time in his life, whole. Not because of the things he learned to do or the capabilities he developed, because of what being genuinely chosen by someone does to a person who was never supposed to be chosen at all. and that is the friendship of Gon Freakus and Killua Zoldyck. 148 episodes, a ship in a storm, a restaurant at the start of an exam, a mountain and a gate and someone waiting at the bottom, tunnels and towers, and the city of lights and the game world, and a forest in a country that no longer exists, and a palace and a hospital and everything in between. Two boys who found each other in the middle of a world too large for either of them and decided without planning to face it together. If you're still awake, I hope this carried you somewhere good. If you fell asleep somewhere in the middle, maybe on the ship where they first met, maybe running through the exam tunnel side by side, maybe sitting on the floor of the Phantom Troops hideout in that strange pocket of stillness, I hope it was a soft landing. Come back tomorrow, there's always more to tell. Good night